hidden under ice, thriving underwater, or a now empty land that's once again in sight. The theories of Atlantis are as varied as they are fascinating. The story of the lost city goes back thousands of years, with the earliest known account being Plato's. He described a monstrous naval power that almost overthrew his beloved ancient Athens. Creatives have written, explorers have scoured, and geologists have obsessed since then. Even U.S. Congress members have advocated for the city's recognition or verification. None other than Albert Einstein even lent his pen to literature advocating for Atlantis. The original tale speaks of a territory created by demigods, precious metals, rare animals, and a central settlement filled with their utopian land. It contained technology far ahead of modern humans. Concentric moats and islands protected by Atlantis, making it impossible for explorers to reach. They also meant the once protected sea doomed it to submersion. Let's dive into the truth about the underwater city so you can decide exactly what happened to the elusive Atlantis. Only a few centuries ago, people bragged that they had finally discovered the mystical city. Plato's early descriptions put Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean. The void in the ocean's midpoint makes it the perfect location for a civilization to develop alone before a final tsunami. Edgar Case, who was a key member of the early New Age movement, had fascinating theories. He suggested Columbus sailed right past the underwater paradise, but these theories are some of the most controversial out there. He would channel a spiritual power that spoke through him and tell his followers God's words. He claimed Atlantis was an ultra-modern civilization that drew its energy from a sun-powered crystal. According to Case, if you found Atlantis, it would appear alien-like due to its radical technology. His prediction that a death ray would destroy the city in 1958 means there's another power out there that presumably matches Atlantis' power. If this force managed to wipe out such an advanced city, then is its danger still lying in wait for us somewhere? Are you someone who looks for more scientific paths to discovery though? Charles Hapgood's theory, laid out in his book, Earth's Shifting Crust, tells us that Atlantis isn't gone. It instead lies in wait under the ice of Antarctica. Atlantis is ancient, so the city may have shifted from tectonic plate movements. It was once livable before the shift of the Earth's plate slowly took it to the uninhabitable South Pole. Is it possible the revolutionary technology and awesome city lays waiting in time's freezer, impatient for Earth to release it again? These ideas have all taken us a long way from the East Mediterranean. That's where Plato first wrote of the city and where Athens, which Atlantis supposedly attacked, remains. But that small sea between the three continents that make up the old world could be the place where we recover the remains of the lost city. Before we look at the historic and possibly prehistoric center of human civilization, make sure to hit subscribe to catch similar videos in the future. So far, we've struggled to find any suitable terrain underwater for hosting a city as grand as Atlantis. But have we just gotten carried away with stories over the years and think it's bigger than it really is? It would make sense that Atlantis is actually a smaller continent than assumed, which could explain why it's hard to find. This opens up underwater areas around the Mediterranean where the remains of Atlantis could sit. Did an apocalyptic event, like Noah's Ark flood, mean waves took a glorious civilization that sat between Europe and Africa? Many religions and cultures tell similar versions of a great flood, so we know there's a chance one came and wiped many civilizations away. Theologians believe that Noah's family found refuge in the Turkish mountains which stand near the Greek Mediterranean. All these pieces construct the strongest evidence we have for Atlantis. We know the Mediterranean nurtured some of history's most glorious civilizations, from Rome to ancient Greece to Carthage. When we hear the greatest of them all once stood proudly in the middle of that sea, we can't help but listen. Many societies in those waters also went extinct during the Bronze Age collapse. Should we blame that ambiguous disaster for the disappearance of the most ambiguous city of all? It lends less weight to the underwater theory of Atlantis, but we have another route of explanation. Places like Santorini Caldera, now above land, are in the right area and would have been habitable thousands of years ago. Did Caldera, or one of the islands around it, once hold technologies and a society far more advanced than its contemporaries? We know that events like the Thera Eruption around 1600 BC wiped out societies that archaeologists have found remains of. Did this affect Atlantis worst of all, and so kept its secrets hidden even deeper? We're still waiting for the next breakthrough on the city of Atlantis, but it's hard for us to hear about the disappearance of civilizations and not wonder which ones we still need to discover. Whether it's deep in the Atlantic Ocean, buried in the rocks of the Mediterranean islands, or drifting through the world's different climates, this fascinating, murky journey still might eventually lead us to Atlantis. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and hit subscribe for more videos on the world's greatest mysteries.